So much history in this place, tied up in words and left to decompose. The text of these pages is illegible. Years of damp and cold have dissolved its meaning forever. Yep. I want to see if there's anything in there. No. Hello. A bottle of Bactrin might come in handy. I have no idea what that is. It's a picture of a British platoon. Must date back to World War II. I suppose this mine was converted into some kind of bunker. Ah. Office log. Officer's log. 15th out. I was going to say that's April, but that's nothing to do with April. It's August, you plonker. 15th August 1945. Command bunker, emergency airstrip Zulu. Weekly report. Another unremarkable week in Greenland. Regular supply shipment received. Standard emergency drills carried out. Routine one-way maintenance completed. I have ordered maintenance to be carried out twice weekly from here on in due to increased snowfall. 1 wounded. The 1 wounded figure is no cause for concern. Back in London, the Germans haven't extended their front line by 4,000 miles. Yeah, that would be quite impressive. And also the other side of England at the time as well. Or depending on how far their front line was at that point. My knowledge on the specific front line history is not great. Anyway, moving on. 2 of my men were caught manufacturing cherry bombs in our workshop. Oh, brilliant. Armoury. And succeeded in blowing off a couple of fingers. I take partial responsibility for this in that I allowed them access to the demolitions manual we keep in the storeroom, and I'm sure that's where they learnt the ingredients. As a precautionary measure, I have now locked up that manual in the chest in my office, and will keep the key on my person at all times. Needless to say, both men have been disciplined, and the injured man has been sent home for medical care. I cannot help but think that a more suitable punishment would have been for him to stay out here, but the matter is out of my hands. This place is so disconnected, sometimes I feel as if this war could end, and we might not even hear about it out here. Supplies requisition order. Dynamite for excavation purposes. 7 bayonets, not necessarily in my opinion, but procedure states we should have a full complement. 1 industrial ice pick for removing the damn ice that forms on the external hatch. Yeah, like what we had to smash. 1 pair of reading glasses, category 7-C. An order for myself, my glasses are in rather poor state of repair and could do with replacing. Reconditioning of the mine continues to progress. The structure is being fortified from potential bomb damage. An excavation of previously caved-in areas is going ahead. 1 point of curiosity is some kind of archaeological find, an artifact buried in the earth and discovered by one of the work teams. Later this evening, after martial duty, I shall take a closer look at the artifact. It appears to be man-made. It must be the one on the table over there. I may have working parts inside. I shall remove what looks like the front cover and see if I can't discover the source of light which constantly emanates from it. Chief NCO M. Major. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Oh, too many buttons. 1 moment. Oh, crap. Right. Nothing in there. Batteries. Nothing in there. I can't remember if I already looked in here. No, I didn't. Copenhagen Post, Monday, 17th August, 1930. Psychotropic deposits at the bottom of Death Mine. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen have suggested that mind-altering chemicals naturally sewn into the rock may be the cause of high suicide rates at a Greenland mine. The university, which has recently Goodness gracious, read properly, please. The university, which has recently been conducting studies into isolated communities, first became interested in the workers of the northwestern lead mine last year. They discovered that even taking into account Greenland's naturally higher suicide rate, local figures for the last 100 years were abnormally high, at 46 deaths per 100,000 populace, compared to the national average of 29. Oof. Yeah, okay. On further investigation, experts diagnosed in many of the miners, symptoms in common with the earlier stages of paranoia schizophrenia. This has prompted researchers to hypothesize that the natural deposits of lysergic acid, a pH 4 formula, recently discovered to have hallucinogenic properties, may be present in the rocks. Few locals were conducive to interview, what are you saying? Conducive to interview. But those who agreed to speak had their own explanation. Inuit spirits known as the Turngate live in the mountains. The university is awaiting results of chemical testing. Studies continue. Interesting. Right. I do know what that device is, so I'll look at that in a moment once I've done all of this. Oh look, more flares. Nice. Beef jerky. Not about aroma. Painkillers. Nothing in there. Now I can use the key on this. A chest for storing valuables. Big Book of Explosives, 1923 edition. Black match fuse. Dynamite. That. TNT. Armstrong's mixture. And there we go. I'm not going to read all of that. We'll need some... We'll be reading some of it later, but I'm not going to read the entire thing. Donk. Did we look in here? I don't think we did. Nothing in there. More beef jerky. Nothing else. Yeah, this basically saves the game. Oh, that's funny. A man, an old man, clutching something unseen. He is strange, and yet he's no stranger. Never seen before. Still, I know. This man before me is Howard. I call him father. Ugh, what the hell? What just happened? I don't know if that was such a good idea. Oh, yes it was. Saves the game. We're done with this room. Oh god, is there something else down here? I can't just wait for it won't go down that corner. Yeah, there he is. See the yellow eyes. Jesus, I've never been this scared in my life. I can feel my heart racing. If anything gets within more of a few feet of my hiding spot, I'd better not stare it out. Anything within my field of vision might panic me, and then I'm a goner. Basically, if you look at it directly, it's probably going to notice you. If it's within your field of vision, then well, he panics and then goes, "Ah!" I guess he's long gone then. Now you can kill them in this game, of course. Whether it's a good idea or something else. I'm trying to get his attention on purpose. One. Two. Three. crap. Oh, was that it? No. I don't think they take damage when they're on the ground. Yeah, that's him gone. Poor thing. But I mean, look at it. It's glowing eyes, mangy, very decrepit in damage. That's not normal. There's nothing normal about that small pooch. This place must be old if they were still using paraffin lamps. Looks like it's just some some juice left. Where the fudge am I? Storage room, workshop, office. Well, there's no point going to the workshop just yet. We'll go to the storage room. Now, presumably, you're supposed to use the beef jerky to distract them, and then you can sneak on by. Which I've never actually bothered doing because you've got a hammer, which you can upgrade to a better weapon every once in a while. Well, I say upgrade to a better weapon, it's just pick something else up. But still. Nice. Just old paint cans, dried up long ago. If this item wasn't empty, it'd be a handy thing to have. Someone else in there. Locked from the other side. Does that mean there's someone still inside? I can hear chattering. Just another note, just in case. Well, there's shoes. I didn't get to quite read it all in time. Wiring. That's also locked. Boxes, rusty nails. Oof. Bits of food and shows some kind of trap door, but I can't see where it would be behind this door. Right, so box with balls minus balls equals the box can move and you can go through a trap door. Where there's a ladder, gas is very unpleasant. Lighter plus fuel equals fire and a very smiley face. Spiders equal unhappy face. Either the work of a child or a deranged mind. Crude representation of a scorched, writhing spider. Indeed. Yeah, another one here. Spiders equal unhappy. Storage crate for transporting ore, I suppose. There's a draft coming from the base. Yeah, here we go. More batteries. More painkillers. And a save point. Come on. There we go. Squeaky, squeaky. Come on, into the corner we go. Thank you. Yeah. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, it's like squeaky trousers. It was different, but the same that time. Like, I had more control, but over what? Weird. Weird, weird, weird. It looks as if the basement caved in some years ago. Something's tunneled through here, and more... Something's tunneled through here more recently, though. Christ, what sort of creature makes these markings? Well, there's a web there. And there. Meow. Christ, was that a spider? I don't like spiders. I don't mind them myself. I think they're alright. Well, they have a tendency to sneak up every once in a while. There was one in my car the other day. That startled me. One of the big ones. Just house spider, but they can get quite large. So this is what we need over here. Donk. Right, now we can get up. But what else is down here? There's no point just going down that hole to grab a ladder to come back up. There must be something else. Oh dear. Horrible sight. Likely it's mummified or the smell would have been awful. Well, luckily, not likely. Yeah, that became food for the spiders. Yes. Dry, dusty old bags. Another flare. Day 1. I begin this record, still in hopes that the great work we have undertaken here might one day be of scientific value. Despite the chaos which has ensued in the 6 hours previous, my aim is to remain secure until what help there may be arrives. And to that end, I have barricaded myself into a small workshop area in the abandoned part of the mine. I hope that the meagre food rations here will keep me alive, and that those I hide from will not jeopardize that. Perhaps this mine really is cursed. It's almost precisely 30 years since the incident that brought us here, and now, 30 years on, fate has struck again. In the workshop area. Day 3. I forecasted that today the rescue crews would arrive, but I can only hypothesize that they would be unaware of my location, and hence busy themselves evacuating the other survivors. If they have not arrived by tomorrow, I will go out and search for them. Day 6. My first mistake was to make assumptions on the matter of rescue. My second mistake was to make assumptions on the safety of this mine. My third mistake was to act on both those assumptions in going outside of my safe haven. My best estimate is that I left the workshop where I was secured about 2 days ago in search of aid, and I have found only danger. I approached the old living quarters, but curiously could find no sign of life whatsoever. I returned in what I thought was the direction from which I had come, but soon found myself in an unfamiliar locale. Confused but focused, I attempted to make my way home, but found myself threatened by some species of feral creature, which seems to have made this old mine its home. Now, is that the dogs or the spiders? Because both seem a bit unnatural, although I don't know what natural sized spiders are in Greenland or such, but the dogs with bright glowing eyes can't be that normal. Although the specimen bore significant interest to me, I chose to retreat, only to find myself outmaneuvered and outnumbered by the beasts. Spiders. I turned and ran, injuring my ankle in the process, which I believe now is most likely a sprain, rather than a fracture. For some time I cowered and fled into the dark, but a few hours ago I discovered a door leading to a smaller, disused part of the mine, the key for which I still have in my pocket. Within that area I discovered this storeroom. Right. And I think it should keep me safe for some time. This place is a maze. My lesson learnt. I will not venture out again until I am certain the area is safe. So this is probably the dude in that little tiny office who is chattering away to himself. Day 19. Rescue seems increasingly unrealistic. Supplies diminishing. Lots of spiders in this place. I do not like spiders. Nor does Philip. Day 34. I caught one of the accursed 8-legged beasts nestling in my open mouth when I woke up this morning. In my surprise, I swallowed it. Ugh. It's not so much the act of swallowing which concerns me, but the genus of arachnid. It would be unlikely that a cave-dwelling spider would be venomous to any significant degree, but the possibility troubles me all the same. Day 35. Any known venom would have affected me by now. And so today is the first minor cause for celebration. Sorry. So today is the first minor cause for celebration I have had since the incident. I thought there was a full stop after a celebration for some reason. By lucky coincidence, this revelation also means I've discovered a virtually inexhaustible supply of nutrition. I intend to venture into the basement beneath this storeroom, in the name of science, to discover more about these creatures' natural habitat. Yeah. Thing is, when you start using a particular species as a food source, you tend to piss it off somewhat. Especially when you don't know its own capabilities, because these spiders are not natural prey animals, are they? I say they're more likely a predator sort of thing, just not used to being preyed upon by something so bloody large. Day 50. 4 days now, I have been surviving solely off the quite considerable sustenance provided by the spiders. For some time, I was struggling to gather enough of the crunchy little morsels. However, Lady Luck smiled upon me once more when the batteries in my torch died, and I made a second life-saving finding. The creature's natural habitat is the dark. With my light now diminished, I need only lie still for a few minutes, and I will have attracted enough of the beasts for a rather hearty meal. And yet, quite bizarrely, you didn't notice all of the batteries that I have found lingering around. And again, he probably didn't want to venture on if those dogs are there, so fair enough. Right. I think I blistered my phone from a minute. Don't touch the gas. Remains of an egg. If it weren't for the size of the pieces, I would say it looks like eggshells. Day 71. My earlier assumptions on the benign nature of my cellmates may have been made in error. Well, you made an assumption, so that was your first mistake. After a careful autopsy, I am concerned that there may be a small volume of natural chemicals stored in the stomach which, if ingested regularly over a period of time, may become psychotropic or even lethal. Oops. My only real chance is to break out of here and raid any statues or supplies I can find. However, the evidence against such a move is insurmountable. 1. I have no source of light. 2. I swore to myself I wouldn't leave until I heard human voices outside. 3. The spiders are so tasty. Oh dear. Day 100. From the marks I have been making on the walls and my scribbled diary entries, which in the dark may amount to an illegible scrawl, today is the 100th day of my new life. Over the past month, my edible friends have become more and more aggressive and have swelled in number and size. Whether or not this is a result of my plundering their ecosystem, I am unsure. However, at this rate of growth, they will soon be too large to crawl through the gaps in the walls. For all I know, I could only be seeing the tip of the iceberg. If all fails and I am never recovered, I hope at least that my study of, and indeed involvement with these fascinating creatures will one day be regarded as an important point in natural history. The great names in modern science got there more through fluke than talent, and it appears that this rule has extended itself to my discovery of this delicious new species. I only pray that the second rule deems my breakthrough too insignificant, for all the great discoveries tend to consume their inventor. Well, you didn't really invent these spiders, but why they're growing so large is something else.